Now that that's over, let me piss you off a little bit. Yes, let's jump right in there. We're still talking about free will. There is no video because I'm going to be your video. In every class, well, I wasn't going to do this to the eighth week, but I think Tracy and Dion was like, no, you're going to tell us right now. So I decided in the third week that on the fourth week, I would tell you all what I think while I'm being very humble by saying what I think. Some of you are very hard free will people, as you should be, as you should. Some of you are very hard determinist people, as you should be, as all things are just fine, all things are perfect. Nor is this time to change your mind. Stand on what you stand. That has nothing to do with me or this class. Before I tell you what I think, allow me to tell you how much you actually believe in determinism and don't believe in free will for just a moment. Don't lean. This is not an argument to lean you. This is an argument to show a blind spot. Is this okay? It's okay. All right. Do not lean. Stand strong. Stand firm. But every single time you say anything like, just wasn't meant to be, that's not free will. I'll keep going. Must be in God's plan. That's not free will. You know what? It's just in her genes. That's that's not free will. It's not free will. I just know I have a destiny that is not free will. And so on and so on and so on. There's so many very little things that we nevertheless, Lord, if not in my will, but in your will, that is not free will. It's not even close. It's not even close. To you hard deterministic people, let me poke fun at you now, okay? Let me poke fun at you. Yeah. Let everybody get it both ways, all right? Let me poke fun at you now, Antonio. Every single time you said path bender, Antonio, how can you bend your path in a deterministic world? Mm, you're literally sitting in a class called Pathbender. How dare you say the path can be bent, Antonio, but also say there is no free will? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make see there, yeah, Jerome gets it. There you see, I'm poking fun at me. I'm poking fun. That's fair. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Okay, I'm poking fun at me too. Poking fun at me. What else does Antonio? I'm the captain of my fate, the master of my soul. No, you're not. how could you be if you believe in hard determinism, Antonio? How could you possibly be the captain of your fate and the master of your soul? Well, Antonio, what you're going to do is go to the bathroom and write affirmations down. How dare you, Antonio, affirm anything over and over and pray out loud twice daily or do the think and grow wealth? That hard determinism, it will be what it will be. There's no sense, sir, in writing down affirmations or even praying for that matter. Ah, because what will be is what will be. Anytime that Antonio has exercised his free will or even uttered the words, I made a mistake. How could I make a mistake? If it's a hard deterministic world. Now that I have absolutely opened your mind and confused you at the same time, we can now properly have class. we can now properly have class. This is not an easy subject. And as much as you want to say, I'm 100%, you're not. You're not. You're not 100%. You're just not. If you think that your child looks like you, that is not free will. That it's impossible. That is a chrome That's a chromosomal thing. That is a hereditary thing. You're literally saying that child looks like me through something that was determined before I got here. Is it starting to make sense now? Every time you go, we're made in his image. So you don't believe in free will then, huh? No matter what we do, if we were to what I'm doing right now is I'm exaggeratedly politicizing this. Yeah, y'all do live in 21st century, right? Ain't nothing you can do that ain't political these days. Susan's a vegan. She's a flaming liberal. Kenneth eats meat. He's a flaming conservative. Just nothing you can do. There's just nothing you can do these days that is not political. It's just not. It's just not political. It's just not political. Don't allow me that double negative. And I'm doing the same thing with free will. No matter what you say, I'm doing the same thing with hard determinism. No matter what you say, I'm politicizing and letting you know, man, I can't stand nowhere. And that's my point today. My point is when you stand somewhere, you better know why you're standing. That's the point. You need to absolutely know why you're standing. Today, we're going to talk about memory. And you are either going to be gloriously impressed or furiously ignited. I don't know which one. You know, Grace, what's that song we like? Barbara, this is Shirley. You see that man? I want to play it so bad, Grace, but I really don't want to get hit with a copyright because Eda be putting these on YouTube, and I don't want to get hit with a cry for copyright. But anyway, she in a little introduction, Dion, she said, "I don't know if it'll be cool or come out of a bag. I don't know if y'all gonna be cool or come out of a bag, but we're gonna find out." I will admit to you today is going to be so complex. I am going to share my screen a lot so you can read along with my very, very, very Dr. Joshua Ferris notes. I'm thinking about the smartest doctor I know, and it might be that guy. Okay, just so you know, these are for me. These are for me. Today's topic is memory of past events, Ina. And that's what you're going to free will or memory of past events, and then you can put whatever you've been putting. Memory of past events. Antonio, so what do you think? I do not believe in free will. I don't. But Antonio, but you say we use free will. You're teaching Pathfinder because I believe in free will. It's like, okay, now you're just drunk. This don't make no sense. You can't. I get it, Antonio. You're taking the bull jive argument to where you stand on both sides. So whichever side is right, you won. So you can't be wrong. No, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. Antonio, so you clearly are a hard determinist. I am a super duper smack dab conservative Donald Trump flag flying hard determinism. Like you can't get more hard determinist than me. You just can't. At the same time, you got me messed up. If somebody gonna tell me what the blank I'm gonna be. You see the problem there? No, there's a major problem there. I am a walking contradiction. I mean, come on, Phil. How can I be a pioneer and believe in hard determinism? It's some of this stuff. So, there's a duality there. So, Antonio, what do you actually believe? What I believe, Tracy, all of my heart, is that we've already done this and we've already exercised our free will. Therefore, consciously, as we are observing it, we live in a hard deterministic state. We, through entropy, through the second law of thermodynamics, go through hard deterministic state that does not allow us to undo what we've already done. That I believe, that I have science for, and I have more science for what I believe than you could ever come up with what you believe. I just gave you one of them, the second law of thermodynamics, to where everything starts in order or rolls to disorder. This means that no matter how much Antonio believes in free will, he will die. Rewind, press play. No matter how much you use your choice, Otis, to believe what you want, something hard and determined, causality, is unraveling right now. And you went from a baby and you're going to go all the way into the ground. And there's nothing you can do about it. Tracy, as I'm speaking right now, hard determinism, whether you want to or not, the moment you were born is the moment you began to die. You hear that all the time. Let me give you the science behind it. There are hundreds of trillions of machines, I'll say machines for easy understanding, working in your body right now, and they're completely interdependent and dependent upon one another. Luckily for you, Grace, there's a lot of interdependency, which means that the ER of the hospital, Grace, doesn't have to be at the mercy of the janitor's office. They can function without one another. Can you imagine having a gunshot wound? Oh, wait a minute, Grace. We didn't sweep yet. Can't take you. Can you imagine that? Your heart can work independently from your lungs. You say, well, that don't sound right. Collapse a lung and your heart will overcompensate because it can work independently. Making sense? So right now, Tracy, there are many, 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 many. In 5 minutes, I'm gonna open up for conversation. There are many, many hundreds of trillions of actions happening inside of you right now, Tracy. And every time you breathe, one of them stop working. And as you get older, more stop working. And eventually, all of them won't stop working, but enough will stop working to where you don't work. And in that not working, the rest will stop working at some point. This is what we call death. What we call death is the idea that no matter how much you lift weights, no matter how well you eat, you still are going to die. And that, my friends, has nothing to do with free will. But then Antonio goes, but I could use my free will to live my best life. Now we're back into the thick of the confusion, aren't we, Otis? Right? And we're going to walk it out. We're going to talk about it. You're going to get upset. You're going to get passionate, but it will be in the spirit, and it would be in the spirit of what arguments should be. Nobody here should be agreeing with me unless you found what you stand on. It is not your job to agree with me. It is your job to look at your agreements and then look at what I'm saying and ask yourself, did I poke a hole in it? And if I did, you are not allowed to put God in that gap. That's what I introduced at the very end last week. When I poke a hole, when you poke a hole in my argument, I'm not going to say, well, I mean, Dion, God just made it that way. That is how you kill thought. Now, I did not say stop believing in God. For those who just heard me say that, that's not what I said. I said don't use God to kill critical thinking. Is that okay? Or do the stones come for me? Is it okay? No stones, good. I'm just saying don't use God to kill critical thinking. This is a conversation. And guess what? God said God will be with you always. Even in the critical thinking of today's conversation, your God still wants to have this conversation. If not, you'd be dead, or the Holy Spirit would move you if that's your thing in Christianity. Cool? Outstanding. Repeat, open up conversation in 90 seconds. You're going to get a lot of science today, to the point that I have to share my screen. This science will obviously come from, well, it won't come from me because science can't come from me, but it will be written in my words. I have three writing, well, I have a bunch of writing styles because I'm a ghostwriter, but I have three main writing styles. In chat, I don't even try to uppercase nothing. You hear me? You're just gonna get what you're gonna get because I write too much. This is my one time to misspell and drag my hands across the keyboard. And your job is to figure out what the hell I'm talking about, which is often difficult because I'm really short in text message. I'm really short. I text Susan like this morning. I was like, man, that's a good, but that was long. I'm really short. I'm like so short in text messages. It's really hard to understand my mood or my tense or whatever that may be. One style. The other style is my casual style, in which I lay I fatten my tongue with poetry. See what I just did there? I don't think anybody has ever said that. I just made it up on the spot just now. I fatten my tongue with poetry. You know what? I'm going to remember that one. Somebody tweet that for me. Okay. This is my other style because, I've got a way with words. I have a way with words. My third style is ChatGPT. Can you explain this to me like I'm 10 years old? That's my third style. And that will be happening today. Okay. That will be happening today for sure. 30 more seconds. Antonio is arguing out explicitly. That means out loud. It doesn't necessarily mean out loud. X is a front of a sentence. That's not just, I'm trying to keep it simple. It's a prefix that means out of. Okay. Exit, exodus, ex nihilo, ex-con, out of prison. All right, X. This just means out of. So explicitly, out loudly, I am telling you there is no free will. There is only hard determinism, but we already use free will. So then, therefore, there is also not hard determinism because at some point we didn't have that. We only use free will. And now consciously we are observing what we've already done. And we're trying to understand that. Antonio, where are you drawing this from? Well, a lot of places, but I'll give you a spiritual one. We are all members of one body. And our job is to remember that one body and rejoin it. That is a very loaded sacred text in multiple sacred texts. The idea of once again joining a whole is loaded. Loaded. Anywho, I super expect, in fact, I'm going to strongly encourage Dr. Ferris, Tracy, Jerome, Deanna, Phil, to blow up the conversation with mass conversations, points, tips, and disagreements, because it's going to make it better. Okay. All right. Who's first? Speak among you. All right. Tracy's first.
I was just
In
gonna
a
ask
second.
well, really quick, because you said we can't use scripture and we can't use anything.
Oh, I did say that last week. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for that. You can use scripture if you want to. You can use your cousin Ernie if you want to. The only thing that the rule for the next 4 weeks or 3 weeks now is you can't say the Bible says, nope. You have to say, well, in the New Testament, I'm okay with that. And Paul wrote, and I'm okay with that. Right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make you think instead of triggering you, and you use your trigger statements to kill an argument. Those hot one-liners. That ain't what the Bible say. That means nothing.
Right, but just now in your introduction, you were
Mhm.
saying that you didn't want us to support our argument with anything that was like, well, God or things like that. So I'm just
Oh no,
like
okay.
confused as to how to
Yeah.
argue this if you're going either way, if you're going free will or deterministic, usually something, theological will come into that argument.
I didn't communicate properly. Grace, which one of you, Grace or Deanna, which one of y'all can Google for me real quick, the fast. All right, Deanna, Google for me. It's a phrase called God in the gaps. It's an actual thing. I didn't say you can't use God. Well, I probably did say that because if Tracy, let me just teach real quick for this. If anybody misunderstands you, that is the speaker fault. That's not the listener's fault. All miscommunication is on the fault of the speaker or the leader. Tracy is telling me what I said. Don't matter if that's what I said. That's what I said. Because I could have said it better. So the next time your child or your spouse tell you, well, this is what you told me, calm down. Calm down, because Tracy told me what I said. What I said is irrelevant. She told me what I said. Notice I said, my bad, I miscommunicated. So, and some of y'all are visual learners. Diana, God in the gaps, share your Google screen for me, please. God in the gaps refers to the argument that gaps in scientific knowledge are evidence for God's existence and direct intervention. So stop right there. So I use that both ways. I said, if you believe in the opposite of me, you can't go, whatever. That's, God can't. And I can't. Just because Tracy says, well, Antonio, I think this, I can't go, there's no science for that. I can't do that. You get it? I can't. The same way you can't go, God ain't made that. It's the same way I can't go. There's no science for that. That's fair. Okay. She said, okay, I'm making everybody equal at the cross. Is that okay? I'm making everybody equal at the cross. We should all be equal, and we should all have the opportunity to argue whatever you want to argue. Just don't go, well, that ain't what I believe. Now you really do sound like a supporter. I'll let you put whatever. I don't know if that was a Biden supporter, an Obama supporter, or a Trump supporter. I'll let you fill in that. But some of y'all, you stand on what you stand on, and that's it. Okay. Kenneth, you are next, and then back to Tracy.
Okay, real quick. It just a question as well. So I know.
Remind me to read Dr. Fair's comments in the chat. Okay, go ahead, sir. My bad.
I always had like deja vu. I mean, even as a child, I've always seen things, and then it would happen. Even as I've grown up, it would happen. So when you said that, dang, is that determinism? When it happened, but I what happened. So I was like, okay. But also, when you
it is most certainly the glitch in determinism. That's the glitch in the matrix exposing determinism. Yes, sir. It's most certainly that. Keep going. Hold on, another one. Intuition. Anytime you said intuition, you're literally saying determinism. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so as far as dreams, I know as far as Joseph, he was the interpreter of dreams. I believe he had a different dreams or different things. So is that basically determinism as well?
Joseph, that you just probably, if I had an argument today, I don't have an argument till next week, but if I had an argument today, you would have killed my argument bringing up Joseph. But like 100%. What you just did was like threw a monkey wrench in the whole plan. Here's why. Because Joseph is quintessential proof of determinism, the way his life starts, and free will, the way it ends. I mean, that just gave me chills saying it. He starts with, Susan, your siblings ain't gonna like you too much, but you're gonna be great. And then Susan walk around talking about, hey, I'm better than all y'all. You understand, right? Yeah, I'm all y'all. I'm better than all y'all. Joseph didn't know what to do. This is Joseph of the Torah. Joseph did not know what to do with his Josephness, and the brothers did not know what to do with the brotherness. It's a lesson in there, y'all. Okay, it's a lesson in there. Both of y'all got to learn how to tone it down a little bit. And so he is thrown in as well. Reuben comes in, steps in, saves him at the very end because they want to kill him. They sell him off into slavery. None of that is Joseph's doing. I could say it was his bad behavior, but it was already foretold that he was going to have these issues. Can't stop that. His dreams of the interpretation of his dreams from the extra wheat, for the 7 years of plenty to the 7 years of famine. That's absolute determinism, because it's causality, right? Something's going to happen, causality. That's what determinism means. But not sleeping with Potiphar's wife, that's free will. Not getting mad at God when the cupbearer and the cake maker left him for 2 years after he blessed their socks off, that's free will. And then, of course, and using typology, your Bible says that Joseph and Jesus got the same Hebrew name. Their names mean the same thing. And there is nobody in the Old Testament that shows forgiveness to the level of Jesus but Joseph. What you meant for evil. Come on, help me, somebody.
God made it for good, so let me just jump in right
That's
there.
free
Then
will.
was it really?
That's
But
free
was
will.
it really free will? Because it was already determined that he wasn't gonna sleep with his wife. It was already determined that he wasn't gonna do those things because that was already laid out. Yes, he had a choice of whether or not to do it. However, God already knew he wasn't gonna do it. That's just the way that, if it was already planned out, did he really choose?
Yeah.
Or was that choice already there? He just acted out the choice that had already been predetermined.
Okay, I'm loving this conversation, and I'm loving how y'all jumping in. Keep this up. Tracy, you got a solid point. My hesitation to fully agree with you is that hermeneutically, it's not in the scripture that some of that stuff was laid out, right? It's not all of it. You know, some of it, like the Potiphar's, that wasn't laid out, that it wasn't foretold that he would be tempted and overcome. And so I agree with you. I agree with you, but I'm so conservative. I don't like to put things in things. I don't like to put philosophy in scripture. Yeah, y'all. Some of y'all appreciate this, some of you don't. But I 100% agree with what you said. So let me break down your wise argument for everybody else. Tracy is saying, but come on, though. But if God knew, and if Joseph obeyed, then where's the free will? I'm with you. I'm with you. I 100% agree with you. I 100% with you. Grace, and then I'm gonna read these. I'm gonna read these comments by Dr. Ferris, which I know they're gonna be freaking fantastic. Go ahead, Grace.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. Now, my question that I'm about to ask, it's not a rude or an asshole-ish question.
Okay, hold on. Stop right there, Grace.
I genuinely want to know.
Excuse me real quick. Hold on. Stop right there. I'm sorry, Grace. Y'all speak freely. You understand? Speak freely. Even if it's coming at me, speak freely. You understand?
Okay.
We here for fun, critical thinking. Okay, go ahead, Grace.
Okay, you know how Black people ask a question and then answer it like, what you want to eat? Some chips? You know, like that? This is what I'm about to do. Okay, so
I've never noticed Black people did that till you just said it.
Okay, so we've been on, I think this is week 5 or week 6, I think, free will versus determinism.
Right.
My question is, and my answer to it, what is the point of you teaching us this? Is it to say, okay, well, I believe in, for example, if I believe in determinism and Antonio, you believe in free will, am I to practice the law of allowing? Is that the point of you teaching us this, or is it?
It's a great question.
Because really, I'm saying to myself, okay, D, you believe in free will. Okay, great. Okay, Ken, you believe in determinism. Okay, great. I mean, I'm trying to see.
Good question. No, it's a good question. Three reasons why I'm teaching this, from least to greatest. Cool. So number 1 is least. Number 2 is kind of least, and number 3 is really. Okay, so there you go. Number 1, I had to make sure that Pathfinder was very different from the leadership course that y'all went through with me a year and a half, 2 years ago. Is that fair? So the topics are very different. And I told y'all then, Otis, I've taught my last leadership class. I said it then. I told y'all that this morning. When I tell you I'm done with something, I am done with something. That just ain't nothing else true about it. Tell y'all that is true. Now, I don't know if that's free will or determinism. I'm not sure which one, but that is a fact. So that's the least that vanity motive, or maybe the motive of giving value. I'm not sure which one. It could be a little bit of both, or a lot of bit of both. Definitely vanity is in there somewhere. A lot of where. That's number one. Number two, I know where we're. That's actually number three. Number two is, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, England. I just petitioned. You're making me say too much. But since you asked, I will be honest. I'm gonna roll my eyes though, because I don't like it. Did I do it well? Did I?
You did.
Oh no,
Like,
I should
wow.
snarl my lip.
You know, like I'm jealous because I can't roll my eyes like that. Keep
Oh,
going.
okay. Oh yeah, they told me I had an attitude, Susan, when I was young, so I had them. You know, you understand. I roll them. You roll them again. You know, I got those comments. You understand those? I got those comments. I just petitioned the SBA for $10 million. $10 million. Other places, which doesn't matter. So in total, in the last 7 days, $710 million. Me personally, this guy right here that need to shave and been working out all day. This guy, $710 million. All evidence. Everybody looking at us right now. Everybody, we are being evaluated 100%. Everybody looking at us, from multiple sides of the government to multiple sides of the private sector. I was already preparing to do this sometime in like April or something. I can give you the exact day. I told y'all I was going to test us from November to, I believe I said it was whatever, April 24th or something, whatever WannaCon was supposed to happen. And I said, I'll find out who we are by then. Y'all remember that conversation? And I told you, now I'll make, back then.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat.
Look at the chat. Let me hold $1. I know that's right. I ain't mad at you. So that's the second reason that I'm attempting to make sure you come, which is the third reason. I know where I'm going. I 100% know I'm going. So if you look at everything I'm doing, they all are interconnected. Captured internet leads, how to get out your own way. And there was another one that it was just me and the sales team with planting, what was it called? Laws of sowing and reaping or something like that. It was laws of sowing and reaping. Y'all can see that I'm tilting my field, because here's the deal. And this is now, is this hard determinism or free will? I know where I'm going, but I also know I won't get there if I don't go to every corner of what I have built and till my field. And y'all are my field. And I'll be doggone, and I didn't mean doggone, if I miss where I'm going because I wasn't faithful to the few, so I can be rulers over many. That's why I keep telling y'all it's going to end a little soon. I keep telling you it's going to end soon, because it is. It is. So that's to answer your question, Grace. It has nothing to do with what I want you to do with your life. It has everything to do with, I know where I'm going. And I ain't carrying, coaching, motivating nobody to get there. You understand? The mountain is a one-man journey per person. You're more than welcome to come, but you got to hold your own rucksack. I don't think they call it that. That's the military. Your backpack, my bad. Okay, you got to hold your own backpack. I can't hold it. But cool. That's cool, Grace. All right, that's why. That was the.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. In your defense, you told me this when I asked you. Yep. Yeah, Jalen. I told him this in March. But me and Susan are insanely strategic. So this really should not surprise you how far ahead that we think out. Really should not surprise you. Dr. Ferris, actually, Grace, if you could, let's see. Grace, well, if you could read that for me, because I'm better. And then Dana, you read the next one. I'm better audible than I am.
Okay, so just read the first one where the free will.
Yeah, free will.
Okay. Free will concerns the unconstrained nature of mental choice or intentions, but it doesn't presume that there are no limitations in terms of external operations.
Okay, that's a solid argument. Well, it's not even an argument. That's an observation. Okay, that's an observation. He's not even making an argument right there. Okay, Grace, read me the next one. And he's right, and I'm gonna come back and explain that.
Okay, connected with that, you can't make determinism if you.
Now that's an argument. Okay, now that's an argument. Let me hear that one.
You can't make determinism if you mean by that a definitive or absolute sense. Then you can't know that because you have no access to my mind. Yeah, please explain that.
Yeah, I got you. That's 100. The answer to the question is 100% true, but I can say the same thing about free will. I can flip that same logic about free will. So let's take the word determinism out of this for everybody to understand it. We're just going to call it causality. If something has a cause, that is determinism. So wait, let me pause.
Great. Yeah, break that down.
Yes. Okay. I was just about to go forward. I was like, I don't think somebody got that. Cause and effect is how y'all would have learned about it in 3rd grade, 2nd grade, kindergarten, something. If something has a cause, it cannot be free will. It cannot. It is scientifically impossible for it to be free will. If something has a cause, it's to say if something is hot, it cannot be cold. It cannot. Now,
is it also? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say. Now I know the subjectivity there is to say, well, but I mean, it's hot to you, but it's cold to me. I get that, but when I'm talking about the barometric pressure, the rate of frequency of the molecules vibrating in the air, that's not subjective anymore. That's measurable. 32 degrees Celsius is not cold. It's global warming in some places. Okay, just so we're clear. Okay. That's a measurement, and if I can measure cause and effect, that's no longer free will. Okay, I'm gonna come back to it, but go ahead, Dion.
So is it if it has a cause, is the reason it's the determination because it naturally has an effect as well? Like
that's a tricky question because most people would say the reason. This is where you put God in the gap. Because if I don't understand the reason, then what I do is I say, well, that's how life works. God works in mysterious ways and all those other things. Because I don't understand the reason. So your question is, it's not that you asked a tricky question, but it has very tricky unintended side effects. So let me back up like 3 steps. Grab Dr. Ferris and grab Deanna and their comments. First off, did y'all notice the first comment Grace read? I was like, that's not an argument, it's an observation. And it's called actively listening. It's called actively listening. Second part is definitely an argument. So what is an argument? An argument is when you are making a point and you are proving that point. Doesn't matter how you're proving it. You can prove it with, I don't have to say nothing, or you can prove it with, here's my supporting details. Of course, in order to get an A on a paper, you need to actually prove that point. In order to get an A in a conversation, you just need to be charismatic and give a hot one-liner. Lock her up. That was an argument. and it worked. She is not president. She actually went to a walkabout or something, because I haven't seen her at all. And anybody seen Hillary Clinton? I have not. Okay, so it worked. She is minding her business in peace while we out here stressing out. That's an argument that had no points. Like there was no points there. So the point was, I said it, believe it. That's an argument. Okay, cool. Now that we got that, can y'all see how plainly we all can agree with what an argument is? Doesn't matter the culture. Nobody can say, hey, what I feel about argument. Could be using the definition of argument. Is this okay? Causality works the same way. All that was a setup to say, if it's free will, then it's not causality. If it's causality, then it's not free will. The same way you agreed with the argument thing that I just did, I set you up because I literally used cause and effect. And I gave you illustrations about cause and effect. Donald Trump cause was lock her up. Effect, Hillary, we ain't seen her. I literally set you up to let you know that there's one side or the other. Now, Antonio don't like that kind of talk. I'm gonna tell you personally, I teach that if somebody tell you either or, run, because the universe don't behave that way. It's exactly what I teach. So I'm more inclined to agree with Dr. Ferris's argument than I am my own.
Can you run that back?
Yeah, if
Either or
somebody tells you either or, then run, because the universe does not work that way. I'll give you an idea of this. Well, actually, religion is a great example of this. Religion is probably the best example of this. Politics, religion and politics are the greatest examples of this here. They're both built in lack. It's us, or you're going to some place that you don't want to go to. It just depends. Only Christians have hell, but it's us or it's not us. That's an either or. And I'm certainly not telling you religion is bad, but I am absolutely telling you that either or attitude we took too far. That I can tell you. That I can tell you and not be admonished by any scholar on the planet. Because every time somebody teaches something, their followers always take it too far. That's world history. That's world history. That's world history. Every single time Mahatma Gandhi said something, his followers took it too far. Marxism, followers took it too far. Capitalism, followers took it too far. Republicanism, followers took it too far. That is human, that's world history. There's never been a case to where the masses, where followers have not taken something too far and strayed from the original teacher's intent. That's world history.
Like Trump,
That's a good example. That's a good example. That's it. By the time that goes away, it won't even be fascism. It won't even be neo-Nazi. It would be something different. We are looking at something completely different that has not yet been defined, at least, and they're going to make fun of us. Historians are absolutely going to say, but how did they let this happen? And here's the deal. Now, I'm not arguing. God dog it, I didn't trap myself here. Okay, I didn't trap myself, but I got to finish it though. I got to finish it. I am a patriot. Let me just make this clear. I am a patriot. I was willing to die for my country. I am a disabled veteran for my country. Thank you for your applause. I appreciate you because I know you're going to do it, but you don't have to, but I'll take them anyway. And I ain't the only one on the call. I'm a patriot. But every fall of every government, every empire never failed because it was Tuesday. It took hundreds of years to fall, or decades to be more accurate. You really need to hear that. You really, really, really need to hear that. You super duper duper need to hear that. because something about humanity, we love a slow burn. We like that. We like that turtle in the pot that's getting boiled. We love a slow burn. It's just what it is. You don't have to agree with me. I told this to Dr. Ferris on one of these podcasts. I was like, we were talking about democracy. Democracy has never worked in the history of mankind. And when I say that, people go, "Oh my God, you can't say that." Antonio, democracy has never worked in the history of mankind. Every single democracy on this planet through world history has ended in violent bloodshed. This is why America is not a democracy, it's a republic. The last great democratic experiment, I should say. You can argue that India is doing it right now, which I would argue that was the French Revolution. And if you know anything about history, they literally went off with their heads. The French Revolution. Yeah, if you were a nerd like me, you would understand how funny that joke was, because they genuinely cut off kings and nephews' heads. Off. Finito. All of them. There are lines that don't even exist no more. You got to like get DNA tested to see if you're related to this person. They went straight biblical times. In every democracy that's ever happened, humanity has ended in bloodshed. I don't know if that's free will or hard determinism. I'm not sure which one. I won't even try to argue that one. That sounds like a thesis paper that somebody needs to write immediately. It really does. It really does. Okay. If something is caused, it is not free will. So let's go back to Dr. Ferris' comment. Remember, I said I can say the same thing about determinism. Is he right in his argument? Yes. However, he's typing, and that's 40 words or 140 characters. It's not like he gave his full argument. Some of y'all need to calm down a little bit and let Damali talk, because it's not like she gave her full argument. So I would not respond to Dr. Ferris as if he gave his full argument. I just will respond to the argument that is there. Connected with that. So what's that? It's an antecedent going back up. What is the antecedent? Free will concerns are basically free will. I could use free will, but it doesn't mean I don't have limitations with that. He's saying, Antonio, I can use my free will to swim, but that don't mean I can breathe underwater. All right, are y'all getting that? He's no matter how much he pray, he can't just put his head underwater and start breathing. He doesn't have gills. He's saying that this is was that a good example? Because I'm taking this scholar and breaking his stuff down to, a 10-year-old. I don't mean you're a 10-year-old. I'm just trying to break it down to everybody can follow, because I gotta worry about all these hundreds of thousands of people gonna listen on podcasts too. So Dr. Ferris is saying there are limitations. Connected with the fact, Antonio, that there are limitations, you can't argue, Antonio, that just because there are limitations that we're not using free will is basically his argument. Everybody get that? I can turn that around too, but I don't have to just right now, because I'm about to with this with the share my screen. So I don't have to. Pause. Any questions, comments, concerns, or wait a minute, you just stuck something in my mind, Antonio. Let's talk about this. Oh, Tracy, I got Tracy.
I was trying to find my source before I started. I had to step away, so I missed kind of the last 15 minutes.
You can just get real general. You can get real general with the source. Yeah.
So this was my thoughts based on scripture. A lot of times with this, I look at free will and determinism as, how in the scripture it says, I've placed before you life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life so that you and your children will live. So I look at it like this.
Mhm.
I look at it as the creator has given us different avenues. And it's like saying, hey, you have these two things, depends on the situation, right? You can choose. You could choose this or you could choose that. However, it's like if you choose this, the end of this path is going to be like if you choose life, you're going to live a prosperous life, blah, blah, blah. But if you choose this over here, then you choose death, which is going to lead to, problems, situations, whatever. But it's like here you choose, but it's already determined
There you
based
go.
on
There
the
you go.
choice that you pick, what the result will be. So whenever you have any type of situation where you feel like you're using your free will, but then at the same time with that, it's like saying, hey, I know you're going to choose this over here for this situation. I'm telling you, pick, choose wisely the one, because I already know if you do this way, this is what's going to happen. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. So both roads are already determined, but you have the option of which one to pick. But yet, in the end run, in the long run, he already know that you're going to pick this one, or he already knows you're going to pick that one.
Okay,
Just a thought.
I got like 12 things to say here. Grace, put in the chat, he already know for me. I would be grateful for that. He already know. Tracy, you stay right there.
Well, can I just say, when you say he
Oh, yeah.
already know, if you feel like your God is omniscient,
Yeah.
which is all knowing. So therefore, if he's all knowing, this has always been a debate with me and other people off of here. If
Right.
God is all knowing, then he already knows the path that you're going to take. So if
So-
he already knows the path you're going to take, then it's already predetermined. But then it's like,
Exactly.
because I look at it too, like it's like a parent, when a
Right.
parent comes to the child and they already kind of know what the child's going to pick, but they're like, here you go, I give you two options. It's the same thing like a parent. That's the way I look at that also.
You should.
But
You should. That's a great understanding. Man, I want to go so many places with this. Grace, I apologize to you. I forgot to mention to you the most important reason why I did this conversation. I said I had 3, it's 4. And Tracy brought it up. And I apologize. It's the most important. I gave it to Deanna this morning. Tracy, I think this will help you because I agree with everything you said because me and you obviously believe the same thing. So I'm obviously agreeing with what you say. The reason why I'm teaching, this is what I told Deanna, that y'all can figure out why I'm teaching it because it's explicit in there. It's about the book lunch and stuff and where she's gonna go next. And I was like, none of that matters. You've already done it. And the faster you wrap your head around determinism, the faster you wrap your head around the fact that anything you're running from keeps coming back. And it keeps coming back to how great you are, and you have to be great, and you have no choice but to be great. You're in this holding pattern of what you've already done. So it should be easy for y'all now to believe and to receive, because when you recognize you can't have a thought that you have not already achieved, then this life gets easier. And I know you just missed that. Earl Nightingale says the problem with man is man don't think. Whatever a man can conceive, he can achieve. That is deterministic. It is because anything you think of, you've already gotten to that level. Because you cannot, and I please, for the love of God, write this down and never forget it. It is not New Age thinking. It is not esoteric talk. It is the law of vibration. You cannot think of anything that does not already exist. How can you think of nothing? It's impossible. If you think you are a millionaire, you are. It already exists. If I ask you to imagine nothing, you can't. You're going to imagine darkness, and darkness is something. You're going to imagine black. Black is something. Void. Void is something. You cannot. It is physically impossible for your conscious to think of the concept of nothing. Our brains are evolved to whatever point that you cannot think of nothing. This means Grace, you was looking for your answer. If you say I got money problems, then guess what? Yes, you do. Because you have said it. It is determined in your future. Set. If you can say, I'm in between my breakthrough, yes, you are. It is determined in your future. It is set. Y'all out here stressing. I got you, oldies. Y'all out here stressing and praying to a God, begging God to make you great when great is in your vocabulary. If you've ever had a dream that you can do anything, you are vibrating at the thing deterministically that already exists, and that's freedom. And if you heard what not everybody, I mean, bar from Napoleon Hill, Phil, if you have in you the first part of the secret, the second part just jumped out at you. If not, I just planted seeds. It's okay. I just planted seeds. But if you possess the first part of what you need to be wealthy, your blood just lit on fire when I just said that. My friends, I kid you not. Tracy, I'm coming back to you. Well, I am on you. You spurred this. If you think it, you are vibrating at something that is tangible in this realm. Law of vibration is science. That means something out there has a frequency and you are vibrating at it. Dion did not come first. Her breakthrough did. Y'all trying to make the breakthrough. God told you, let me do that. Lean not to your own understanding. Where were you when I spun the world into existence? You're going to hear me today.
Watch it. Watch it, Reverend.
Where were you when I spun the You ain't got to make your $1 million. It's already there. You need to be still and know that I am God, so that vibration of that $1 million you can match. That's the word of God. Now, you don't argue with that. You argue with you. That's got nothing to do with me. I did not write that. Determinism is a lesson, not because I'm telling you there's nothing you can do. I'm telling you, if you believe it, there's nothing you cannot do not to get it. And that, my friends, is why 75-year-old people have been broke their whole life, end up being millionaires. Because they finally get it. Come on, man. I thought y'all was going to clap right there. I thought you would. I mean, this is why. This is why. Okay. Now that we got that, I want to address a few things Tracy said. If there's a creator, we're automatically saying determinism again, right? It's causality. And guess what? That's a good thing. Because you're saying I was spun into existence by something that loves me so much to spin me into existence. I told Diana the same thing this morning. The same conversation. It's crazy how this conversation come back up, Diana. I told her, your job is to deterministically understand you've already done this. And Otis, this is what I told her. I said, listen, and if the day you accept that source has never taken you anywhere to hurt you, it's the day you get everything you want. God ain't never took y'all somewhere to hurt you. That is not how this works. Your perception is a killer. It is absolutely hurting you. Ebony was already back in school before she got here. She just happened to vibrate strong enough to some crazy people that would help her get back in school. The school, Susan already existed before she was even born. My friends, please hear me. Please, 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 please. Kids, if they don't hear me, y'all hear me. Aiden wants to be a basketball player. Ashley wants to be a writer. I have no idea what the little girl wants to be, but whatever she's going to be, she's going to do it with all the attitude of her daddy and her mama. So God bless the whole world. They can do it. Not because they got to try. simply because they're vibrating at something that existed before they got here. And that's powerful. Stop trying to make your blessings. They're already made. As Will Smith said yesterday, which is a viral clip going around, the difference between good and great is infinitely big. I'll find that clip and play it for y'all. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, ma'am. You sure can.
I'm over here Googling. Okay. I just would like to ask the audience, what's their definition? Like, what those that are saying, like, we do have free will, like, maybe we're just looking at it in a different perspective of what free will is. So I'm just wondering, like, what are y'all's thoughts about what free will is and what free will actually looks like?
Audience.
So, hey, y'all, hey.
Hey, y'all, hey, girl, hey.
So what I think is that we have been taught that we have free will. We can choose. Choice means it's more than one option. That's what I think. Because we know that if we have more than one option, we have free will to choose one or two or three of those options. And because we got options, we think we got choice.
Are you agreeing with?
Yeah.
So you agree that options is choice? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Your argument was okay. Got you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's my understanding of it. And now at this point, maybe I understand that, but maybe that shit ain't right.
If I tell you, and I'm trying to pretty wrong, I'm just going to spin your logic. If I tell you, now you gonna clean that kitchen, me and you live together, you're gonna do what I said. Or you gonna do what I said.
Then I don't have no free will because you go demand, me, I'm gonna leave them dishes in there. But anybody else.
So, basically, can y'all see how the moment I put a relationship? Well, hold on, I don't agree with that argument about. As soon as I put bass in my voice, she ain't agree with her argument about it.
No, I'm just saying, if you didn't give me a choice, you told me to wash them dishes.
Having three options is not a choice either. Having three options is you're gonna choose from these three options. That's what Tracy was arguing.
Well, I'm in agreement with that.
Argument.
So that's why we believe we have free will, because we got options to choose from, and we can choose any one of these options.
That's a fact. If you say that's why we believe we have free will, you're solid. That's why I asked you, do you agree with that? And you was like, yeah. And I'm not telling you not to agree. Remember, stand all you can. Just know that was the heart of Tracy's argument. If you choosing between two options, that's determinism. That's not free will. That's it. Now here's the deal. God didn't make us robots.
Because I don't wash no dishes here.
I feel you. He did sound a little forceful. But question. So
bass in the voice of danger, y'all.
That means, so the way you say it means a lot. I'll wash the dishes depending on how it come out. But anyways, so Trinace, and not just to you, but other people too. So, but the thing, so it's like, if you have a choice, then it's considered or it's taught as free will. But that's what I was thinking too. Like, but God gave us a choice, but did He really give a choice? Because free will, I'm Googling. Free will says that there's no consequences of the fate based on the choice.
That's right.
But if there's a consequence attached to your choice, then it's not free will, because if I choose death, then I'm choosing death. That's a consequence to it. But yeah, it was an option. And, like, options are put out there. But if, like he said, if you don't wash them dishes, then what's going to happen? So, you know what I'm saying? That you had a choice.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that people who have free will, they are not concerned about what's the outcome.
But based
on the dictionary's explanation of that.
Fair enough. But if I go sleep with everybody and get AIDS, but I wasn't concerned with the outcome, I still gonna get AIDS.
But everything we do, so from what Tracy was just saying.
All right, Otis, you jump in the next, respond to this, plus ask your question.
if we have free will, if our free will is based on consequences or not, then
Yep.
we don't have free will because everything we do has a consequence.
this is I wish my buddy Dr.
Like
Fez
you
would
said
say he had
earlier,
it dug
cause
out.
and effect.
There is much more sufficient evidence for hard determinism than there is free will. So there's much more. It's much more. It's too much. It's like it's like 1,000,000 to 5. It's how much? It's 1,000,000 to 5. Okay, go ahead, Otis. Then back to
So-
Tracy and just round robin this whole thing.
So the laws of physics don't change, and we're going back to cause and effect, right?
That's
So-
yep.
And based on that, I think there is a problem with the definition of free will. That's the problem, because free will is me having choices. If I choose to travel to, well, everything we do has a consequence, cause and effect, everything. So that means you're locked into stuff. But if I choose to go to your house, any one of your houses, I got a myriad of ways to get down there. I can walk, take the train, bus, whatever. And then halfway through, I can change my mind all the way through. And then I can say, forget it and come back. That's my choice. I'm making all of these things. But, and by definition, there is a consequence to all of them. But that's why I think that
there's a problem with the definition of free will.
Correct.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so you stay right there. Tracy, you get ready. I'm going to say this. And
Can I just comment on what he said?
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad. Well,
No,
I'm just saying.
That's how my classes work.
But with that being said, agree that was the choice to change your mind in the middle of trying to get to wherever you were going. But then, and ultimately, do you think that the universe knew that you were going to change your mind in the middle?
Okay, so we do. Okay. Let me let him respond, and then I'm going to give y'all more clarity. Okay, go ahead.
I don't think so, because if I choose to walk to Texas, it's hot down there. I might die without drinking water. That's a choice that I'm making. Or I can just super hydrate. It's more my decisions.
But do you think that God knows what you're going to decide?
I wouldn't say. I would say the universe, right? And I don't think that is necessarily true, because people go through pain too. Suffering from heat stroke isn't fun, and it hurts, and you get a lot of IVs. But it's still choices that are made. It's still decisions. It's still consequences to my actions by the definition, right? Cause and effect. And that's why I say the definition of free will needs to be updated. Because according to that, whoever wrote that definition and got it passed to everybody, they
didn't ask you or some folk with some common sense.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, Tracy, get ready to respond. Let's introduce new facts now. We're going to introduce new facts. Free will should be better defined as the independence from a cause. That's better defined. Independence from a cause. I'm going to explain.
Wait, before you explain though, there isn't an independence from a cause, because every decision you make, there's a cause.
That's your point. Okay, so when Otis said, I'm going to walk or drive to Texas anywhere, there's a cause that happened first. He became aware that someone lived on St. Peterson Street, Someone then built St. Peter's in the street. Someone built the car. And I'm not trying to be petty here. I'm just saying this is what the argument would be. I'm not telling you this is my argument. I'm opening up your clarity that free will, given Otis what he asked for, which I agree with here, it should be independent from a cause. I ate cereal not because it was morning or not because I made a choice and I chose this cereal. It has to be independent from maybe my blood sugar went low or whatever. There's so many different, there's a myriad, as Otis said, of possibilities to do this. That's one side. I agree with Otis. Maybe we should think about changing the definition of free will, etc. I agree. In changing that definition, if you believe in God, you believe everything has a cause. Right? If you believe in the Big Bang, you believe everything has a cause for the most part. There's a little. I'm over scientist than I am religious. No, go ahead, Tracy. Come on. No, come on. No. No. I want all that. I want all that. Remember,
No,
nobody's disagreeing.
You're saying no. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm reading the comments too because you're saying if you believe in God, then if you believe in God, then you would think that God knows what you're gonna do and what you're gonna choose.
That's right. I'm glad you brought that
So
up. So let
maybe
me bring,
it should be free. Maybe it should be free will. Changed it to choice because it's not free will. I'm looking at another definition of free will, and it says like
that's what I want y'all doing. I want to mess y'all head up so much y'all go, hold the hell on. Let me click these buttons. Go ahead, Tracy. Oh, hold on. You muted yourself, Tracy. There you go.
Yes, because I was reading the chat sideways, but it was somebody was saying about the subconscious makes a decision 11 seconds before we make an action. But my thing is, if you believe in God, then God already knew what the choice was that you were going to make that 11 seconds before you even made that action.
Yep. And I meant to say this earlier when you brought this up. And I actually wrote it down without pressing enter. If, and Otis, me and you going to struggle with this together because we're thinking alike here. Let me just say, I struggle with this, Susan. This is not, when I tell y'all what I think, I will flat-footedly with fortitude tell you what I think. I am telling you, Kenneth, I'm struggling here. Because if you know what I'm going to do, then how can I make a choice? That's a big struggle for me.
And God is omnipotent.
That's a big struggle for me. It's a big struggle for me. That's a big struggle for me. That's a big struggle. The second movie in the Matrix has that same struggle in it, and Neo's talking to the Oracle. If you know what I'm going to do, if you know what I'm going to choose, forget do. If you know what I'm going to choose, then how can I make a choice? Because this is what that definition I brought up, independent from a cause. Because if my choice should be so free will that even if you know everything, it should be independent of your knowledge, independent of your cause. I'm not telling you this is true. I'm telling you we came here to critically think and get frustrated and let our subconsciouses work it out at night.
So why would their knowledge be a cause in this case?
If you're going to hold to free will, then it has to not be a cause and a choice, because determinism says causality, cause and effect, that everything comes back to cause and effect. This is why my go ahead, Damon. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't have anything else to say. I agree.
This is why I like my definition, Otis. This is why I like my definition. I'm drawing through human experience. No, I'm not drawing through human experience. Nothing about what I'm saying is human experience. Not my definition. I'm drawing through the vast knowledge that's stored in my head with all sorts of things that's stored in my head. Science, philosophy, doesn't matter. I'm drawing from we live more than once. I'm drawing from time is not linear. I'm drawing from Einstein has a mathematical formula for space-time being warped and bent like gravity. And if I travel on a train and Susan travels on a plane, me and Susan will arrive at our same destination, but her clock will become half a fraction of a second slower than mine because at the rate and speed in which she traveled versus that train. This is a scientific fact. It's science the theory, the general theory of relativity is so bonkers. But we know it to be facts because if Grace was to pull me at 30 miles per hour on a trampoline and I begin to start jumping on that trampoline, the 30 miles per hour doesn't matter anymore because that jump and gravity and the trampoline is going to behave relative to my jump, not to the truck. That's a fact. It doesn't matter if I like science. I can jump on a trampoline and find out. You know, Antonio, that doesn't make sense. All right, well, catch an airplane, drive in a car. The mere fact that you're going 70 miles per hour, I have no idea what that is in kilometers. You're going that far. I mean, going that fast. And then you eat a burger. Why is the burger not shooting in your throat at 70 miles per hour? Because the car is acting the burger is acting relative to your arm speed, not the car speed. So you say, Antonio, well, maybe the car isn't moving that fast. Okay, hit something and watch inertia, Newton's first law of motion. An object at rest will remain at rest to unbalanced force X upon it. Watch that come into play because you're going to hit that windshield as much fast as you was going. And then third law going to come into motion and that windshield going to hit you back as fast as you hit that windshield. So we know that these things are bonkers and they don't make sense yet. Otis and I can go, no, that was all facts, Antonio. That was all facts. We got that. We can measure that. So this is why I said, Otis, you're going to struggle with this. Because how can I do something independent from those causes if I'm sitting in that situation, right? I mean, just keeping it in a car situation or the trampoline situation. I can't. Yeah, do I say I can't? I can't. I can't force the peanut to go as fast as this airplane. I can't. I just can't. No matter how much my free will wants me to do it. This is why people like me believe we live in a computer simulation because of this kind of stuff. But anyway, I won't bother y'all with that. That's another, maybe I'll do that next series and mess y'all head up. Maybe I'll do that one because there's more evidence for that too. Okay, give me 1 minute, coming back to Tracy. Is Otis and Tracy right? Oh, am I right? Of course not. What I like to do, and this is not to say Otis, I'm about to contradict myself right now. Otis be like, see, you're on my side, Antonio. I'm a free thinker. I'm gonna be a free thinker and believe in determinism. That don't make no sense. You know, and I'm not just a free thinker, Otis. I wear it as a badge of honor. I got like the free thinker Boy Scout badge with the 3 stripes and I'm a 7th degree free thinker with the black belt and stuff. You understand? I'm all that. But then I believe in determinism. It don't exist. You can't do that, Antonio. You can't have both. And I struggle with that. I do. I genuinely struggle with that. So I like to have these conversations because they excite me. Because whoever's controlling the planet, acting like they're not controlling the planet, raising inflation and taxes, that's my conservative side coming out. Oh, that's my bad. Whoever doing all that stuff, okay, they don't want us having this conversation. But I sure enough like making them wrong. Okay, go ahead, Tracy, Grace, back to Otis. Round robin this thing. Come on.
I was about to forget my thoughts. Somebody had said something about thoughts before actions. I wanted to go back to that because And y'all was talking about how if you think something and then you could change your mind and you have the choice to change the things, da 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 da. Right? So you went to science. I'm going back to scripture. Okay.
That's fine. That's been around a while, hasn't it?
So
we can use
I was
that.
gonna come from King James, but I was like, let me go to the Message. So in Psalms 139, 1-6, it says, okay,
Go ahead, I know where you're going.
Because somebody said, well, we can change our thoughts, and it's our choice to change our thoughts, right? Okay, it says, investigate my life, get all the facts firsthand, for I am an open book to you. Even first one says, I am an open book to you, even from a distance. You know what I'm thinking. You know when I leave and when I get back. I'm never out of your sight. You know everything I'm going to say before I even start the sentence. I look behind me and you're there, then up ahead and you're there too. Your reassuring presence coming and going. So in the King James, it was just one thing, part of it. It says, thou compass my path and my lying down. So what I get from that is that everything is already known. All the thoughts that you're gonna think, the changes of your thoughts. You thought so. Really, you think you choosing. You think you really have this free will to choose what you want, but in actuality, your thoughts are already known. Just a thought.
It's more than just a
my
thought.
thought was already determined.
Before we let you go, Grace, that was Otis. You gotta jump back in and you gotta jump back in because that was right up your argument there.
Yes. I don't know where I've heard this, but the human species, are all spirits, and we're sent down to Earth or wherever in the universe as a spirit to gain in this body. And what we're supposed to do are gain experiences to take it to get a holistic picture or experience of everything. And in order to do that, we have to be in a position to gain experiences, to make mistakes, to learn from our own thing, putting our hand in the fire and saying, that's hot. We will never know that if we don't gain experiences. And those experiences are really just as different as everyone on the line here. We make our choices. We see things differently. We can both accomplish the same goal, but go two different ways. I still think we do have independent choice. I can make a choice and I live with those consequences or benefits or anything else of my choices. I don't think that a lot of people are imprisoned, right? If everything is known, except for gaining experiences, right? That's or anything. It's in my view all about gaining the experiences as a spirit to go up, come back to gain more until the earth is no more. Then we go on to the next galaxy.
Yep. Okay. I'm never canceling Thursdays. You got no choice.
Okay. So I completely agree that we're spirit. Now, the question I have is, do you think that those experiences that we're here to create or enjoy or not to enjoy, like you said, prison, do you think those experiences that the creator who sent your spirit here already knew the experiences that you were going to have?
So there's three things we got to add to what you just said. With that add, we need to define. We need somebody write this down in the chat so everybody can follow. What Tracy just brought up which was super wise, and what Otis just did, super wise. Firstly, does knowing my choices make it not free will. We need to absolutely define that. We need to figure that out. We need to tackle that thing. Secondly, does experiences equal free will? That's what Tracy just brought up. That's what she just brought up. Remember, when y'all talk, even if you're not trying to say something, there's unintended side effects of what you are saying. I'll give you an example of this. Look up there. I just made a down. When I look left, I made a right. I didn't intend to make a right, but when I look left, I created a right. So when we argue experiences, we now must ask, tackle, struggle with, are experiences free will? If so, to whether or what extent is what I would write if I was writing the thesis. To whether what extent are experiences related to free will, choice, and in the paradigm of determinism. That was just a hard thesis off the top of my head. This is what I would say. My degrees forced me to do and think things this way. So we have knowing is choice, free will, and then the experiences free will, and then obviously, hold on, what I said, does knowing my choice, no, does knowing my choice equal free will? Does experience equal free will? And does choice equal free will? Because we're making assumptions. We're making assumptions that choice actually equals free will. Maybe I can make a million choices. Maybe it's not free will. So, and what Otis just said, and what Ebony just, Tracy just said, we got to hash those three things out. That's going to be difficult because here's the deal, Otis. Ain't nobody ever solved that ever. This is, maybe we can figure it out, Jerome. Maybe we can figure it out. Otis, I absolutely agree with your argument there about the experiences. I want to create a formula. And Grace, I want to come to you. I need to answer 2 of Ena's questions in the chat, especially since she's up at 2:30 in the morning. Knowledge plus experience equals being, if you can write that down. This is something that was revealed to me long ago. Long ago. And I barely say it out loud because I never really need to. Knowledge plus experience equals being. Tracy, if nobody gonna love this, you are. You're gonna love this. If you like the Bible at all, you're gonna love this. So in order for us to be a full being, Dion, we must have knowledge and we must have experience. Only then do we become a being. Good knowledge, good experience, good being. Bad knowledge, bad experience, bad being. Bad knowledge, good experience, average being. Vice versa. Cool? Now, Dr. Brandon, you should appreciate what I'm about to say. If God is all-knowing, then God would sit in a position of knowledge. Fair enough? Watch what I'm going to do. I haven't done this in almost 10 years. It was me, Grace, and Michelle, and Deanna, and Bryant Johnson sitting in my old office. So then God is knowledge, because you're saying he's all-knowing, and we say in heaven, Kenneth would be like, does anybody forget anything in heaven? No. Does heaven know everything? Of course. So, knowledge. But Kenneth's Christ was experience. And the word and the knowledge came among you and dwelt. I'm saying something here. Okay, and the knowledge came among you to go what you went through. Uh-oh, Tracy. You get them shout shoes ready. To go what you went through. So now we have God's the Father. You got God the Son with the experience. You say, well, but Jesus had all the knowledge too. But however, all throughout the New Testament, Jesus could not be in more than one place at one time. The Holy Spirit can get in all 8 billion of y'all, but Jesus had to point to heal people in other cities or walk to that city. You say what you want, but that's your Bible, because I'm a critical thinker. Jesus can only heal one person at a time and one city at a time, because Jesus was in the experience equation, or what you call quotient. Jesus was in the experience quotient of this equation. It's quotient, right, Grace? Is it called a quotient? That's not quotient.
Quotient is the answer to a division problem.
Yeah, what is this? Add in, right?
Yeah.
It's the add in. Okay, this is the Jesus in the experience part of this add in. Cool. Why? So you can become a being. So he can become a being, right? Theosis says God became man, so man can become God. That's literally what your Bible says, okay? God came down here, so Susan can go up there. Is that fair? Was that a little more simple? All right, there you go. So knowledge plus experience equals being. So if you take everything back to scripture, then this makes you feel real comfortable that all knowledge had to become experience in order to know itself greatly. If nobody else felt that, Phil did. Okay. Nobody else. That's like super Euregia there. Okay. This knowledge had to become experience to know itself, to be a being. Great. Not too many people disagree with that. It's okay. Taking it back to what Otis just said, Otis is arguing, well, yeah, if I got knowledge and I go figure that stuff out, I become a being in that area. I can do things. I can move things. And Antonio, that sounded a lot like free will to me. And I would agree, Otis. Okay. That sounded a lot like free will to me. And I would agree. I would absolutely agree. Here's where the equation goes wrong. If you got all knowledge and no experience, use a procrastinator. You see what I just did there?
So
Procrastinators know every way why they shouldn't do something. I feel like I just stepped on everybody's toe. Procrastinators
that was Joe.
know every single way that they're not going to do something. But here's the deal. If you got nothing but experience, Tracy, and no knowledge, well, now you're a dummy. It don't make no sense to if you only have experience and you go out there, we call it ignorance on fire in the business world. You just run your little self out there. Go on, try to do what Otis do for a living with no knowledge. Watch how fast you get fired. Because you can't just be experienced. You need both. In order to be a living being of prosperity and abundance, you need both. Just what it is. So Otis, win for you. Win for you right there in that particular argument. Win for you. Tracy, win for you too, because you're proving that those are only three options and God did those options first. So we got to do them now. Win for Tracy too.
Can I say something right there?
Yeah,
I put it
sure.
in the chat, but
Sure.
I just want to say, because you were talking about Jesus right there. And I was thinking about how you were saying, well, Jesus came and Jesus had an experience on earth, right? But my thing with that is, well, his life and his death was already determined because he came so that he could die.
Yes.
So if we are kind of like in the image and doing kind of the same thing, we're not coming so that we can die. However, the experience that he went through was already determined. You think he really was free willing saying, I want to be on the cross? I mean, he even said, hey, take this cup from me. However, hey, Lord, let your will be done, because it was already determined what the will of God was for his life.
Well,
ding, ding, ding,
I'm
ding.
just saying.
Can't say that.
I also want to add on to what Tracy just said, because
She just dropped a bombshell.
please forgive me because I don't remember where it came from.
Let's get close and you can talk. Let's get in the general vicinity. Wasn't on Earth? Did you hear it on Earth?
I heard it on Earth.
Okay, you good then. Go ahead. All right.
I heard that we are all experiences of God. So if we are all experiences of God, then that would explain why we really don't have free will.
As much as I would like to agree with that, you're also arguing God don't have free will. And if God don't have free will, then God ain't God. Somebody got to have free will around this motor scooter.
But then that's why we are here. We are here to have, we are experiences of God, and we are here to have those experiences to remember that we are God, so that way, so that we can be God on earth and
I agree with
enhance
that.
the experiences of others. That's actually, I believe that that's actually who Jesus was, and I've actually studied the character of God, and the reason Jesus was here was to show who God really was. And and even Jesus said, you know, you will be greater than me. So if we remember that we are experiences of God and we align with that remembrance, each experience that we have is an opportunity for us to show we are God here on earth.
Fair enough.
And again, we still don't have free will because we are an experience of God, and it was determined before we got here. This is the experience that I'm going to have here on earth through you.
That takes away free will then. You just completely took away free will. You just did it. Now you did it in a kind way, but you took it away nevertheless. Like this, you just snatched it and snatched it away. I'm gonna do this through you. Damali, you gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it through you. I don't care how much you soften it up. When I put bass in the voice, Grace, it's offensive. All right, let me answer some of this because I want to end on time or right up on it. Ina asks, so you have free will within the boundaries of determinism. That's what Dr. Ferris was arguing before he left. That's exactly what he was arguing. That we can have when I brought up the you can't breathe underwater. I mean, you can with a self-containing underwater breathing apparatus. Yeah, y'all know what that is, huh? Scuba, the scuba gear, self-containing underwater breathing apparatus. Here's some more nerd knowledge for you. Universal serial bus, USB, multimedia system, MMS, short media system, SMS. It's your text messages. I can do this all day if you want me to. But anyway, don't worry about it. Hold on, got one more for you. High definition multimedia interface. HDMI. Okay, I'm done. I'm done nerdgasming all over y'all. Okay.
I'm a dork too. Thank you so much.
Acronym.
Okay, go ahead.
You go. Tanya, no, keep your hand up, Grace. Tanya said the subconscious makes a decision. Oh, up to 11 seconds ago. We did address that. What if source let you have free will until you align with your predetermined path? Okay, let me get Grace first before that one. That one pulled a little differently. Go ahead. Go ahead, Grace.
Okay. Earlier, my question.
I think my class about that comment.
I think my question was, I think I asked it incorrectly. Because I sent a message. I was like, every class that you have done, there's always a lesson of how, this is.
Yeah. I gave it to you. What I told you, I apologize. It was the lesson was you don't have to make your blessing. You don't have to struggle no more. If you receive determinism, that you think something means through cause and effect, it's yours. That's the moral lesson here.
Oh, okay.
Through cause and effect, it is yours because you're not the cause. You are the effect.
Oh.
And you're matching the cause. You didn't cause your life. And then one of y'all went, sperm, let's be beings without an egg. Let's just do it. None of y'all. Nobody, none of y'all just instantly incarnated. Here I am. Someone bathed me. No, that's not what happened. All of us have a cause. We are the effect. And when Dr. Brandy catches she's the effect, then she can change her health situation or whatever the hell she's going through. Right? She's like a bodybuilder, so she's not having a health situation. But you get the point. You can change whatever financial situation, health situation, narcissistic situation. You can change it when you realize your ass don't have to. The moment you stop trying to change stuff, and every great teacher has told you this, and be the change. Every great teacher, every sacred text, every great teacher, every average teacher has told you, if you just be the effect, it'll show up to you.
Okay, wait, because I need examples. So listen, I was listening to Myron Golden this morning.
Okay.
And he
We're
was
gonna
saying,
go like 10 minutes over here. I'm sorry.
he was saying the whole topic, I think it was how to get wealth. He said, I'm only gonna write 2 sentences on the board. And it's 2 sentences. He said to have what the wealthy have, look at what they do financially and do that.
That's right. It's called
And then
law of emulation.
Then he said, look at what poor people are doing financially, and whatever you do, do not do that. So, so is that being the change? Like if I want,
yes, that's not just being the change. That's I don't know what to do, so I'll look at the change and emulate that change until my stuff change.
Watch yourself. Okay, you see how Roman Rome was like, okay, you had me and Roman right there.
Yeah, that's Phil's famous phrase. I'm gonna mess it up. Phil projected to something. I don't know. You say something. Projected to you something. Projected to you sex it or something.
No, that is not.
Whatever it is, something like it. It's probably not. What do you say? It's
projected until you perfect it.
There you go. Yeah, dog it.
As opposed to fake it till you make it.
There you go. There you go. That's what you describing, Grace. Projected till you perfect it. You feel me? That's what you're describing. Yeah. That's what you're describing. Okay, Tracy, jump in there.
My bad. I was typing it so I didn't forget it. Okay. Let me see. What did I say? Okay. I'm going back, and I know we're wrapping up, but you mentioned, because I think it was Deanna that was talking about us being experiences of God, right?
Right.
And then you were like, well, God has free will. And so I was thinking, but does God really have free will? And I was like, because God really doesn't have free will, because free will means that you have the option to choose whatever you want to do, right? And you have options and choices. So I was thinking, God doesn't have true freedom because God can't sin and God can't go against his word. And there's some other things that it was saying what God.
That's a great argument.
And so if we are experiences of God, then in actuality, we really don't have free will also, because based on God and the way we're supposed to go, then it's already kind of determined on the direction that we are supposed to be living, right? And so it says it gives us free will. It gives us choice to choose, but it's really not a choice if we are the experiences of God.
I'm gonna clap for you. That was the best argument of today. You hear me? I'm gonna clap. That you had to get all the way outside your box to come up with that. They ask questions like that similar in seminar, and of course the audience gets irate. What she said was, if God got free will, why God can't make a rock that God can't pick up? Is what she said. If God got free will, why God can't be evil then? This is what she said.
Why God can't fail?
Why God can't fail? No, this and that's because I got in trouble. And I'm still mad to this day for 86 on this paper. That was 100 paper, but anyway. I got in trouble for writing a paper called "Can God Die?" Because here's the deal: Y'all keep saying Jesus died on the cross. And I'm like, that don't make sense to me. It doesn't. It does not make sense to me. What makes sense to me is he gave up the spirit. That's in there. No, that's in there, Jerome. That's in there. He gave up the ghost, King James. Because if the wages of sin is death, then that means the only way that Jesus would have died is had to sin. This is
Watch yourself. Is that what your paper was about?
This is spelled out. It sure was.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. And God is Jesus is the word made flesh. And if the word is God, then Jesus is, don't make me go back. Jesus is God made flesh.
That was a great argument.
Also says that God limits himself to what he could do on the earth, which is why he created man to do those things on the earth, because he had put limits on himself to what he cannot or will not. Let me say not cannot, because I'm sure he could do it, but will not do based on limits.
No, in the scholastic period, about 900, 1100 AD, people like Thomas Aquinas and his contemporaries argued this very thing, and they still don't have an answer to this argument. It's not a matter if God can, because if God can, Jerome, then why is God God? Because if God can make a rock so big that God can't lift it, then the rock becomes God. God's no longer God. The rock is. The rock is now the greatest thing in the universe. It's deep. Good job, because you got there by yourself. Yes, sir.
I've said this before, you cannot find God with your mind. You can only find God with your heart. Therefore, to find God, we all must lose our mind. And trying to understand God is like trying to teach the internet to an ant.
That's what a great one. Hey, Ant, if you can www dot, no, it's not going to work. Now, Otis, you got me with this. Light amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation. How in the blink?
When he put laser in, I say laser sip or something?
That laser is an acronym, and that's what it means.
I never knew that. And I know just about everything. Never knew that. Oh, laser amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation. I'll never forget it again because I can see it. I can see it. Holy smokes. All right, we got to end. We got to end because I want y'all to be happy about next week. Next week, I didn't even share my screen today. I didn't even share my screen. I didn't even share, but just so you know that I was serious, that there is some sort of semblance here, Dion. It's right here. It's right here. Right there. Okay. I was gonna start off with neuroscientific perspective and all sorts of stuff, but I didn't need to because I weaved it all in. Okay, I weaved it all in. Next week, we will be discussing rationalism, rationality and determinism. And oh, Lord have mercy. That rationality, that's like I could think for myself. So I'm gonna end you with two things. I was talking to Trinace, doesn't matter what we was talking about. And she said somebody said something. It was fantastic. I thought it was fantastic. And actually, I'm gonna tell you what the lady said, but I'm not gonna tell you Trinace's response and my response. But the lady said, Tracy would be like, I tell her myself. I don't care. Right. The lady said, well, the reason why you single, I don't know if there's someone to Trinace or the crowd. The reason why y'all single is because you want to be an individual. That was a woman talking to women. Okay, it was a woman talking to women.
Yeah, but she dumb because she's checking her. She seeing other men checking her, deleting the messages from her phone so he don't see it. And I would rather be an individual because he don't need to be joined to me at the hip. Bye, sir. I got books to write. I got things to do. You do you. I do me. We do together. That's how relationships work, because I bet you Antonio ain't in on Deanna's messages.
Lord have mercy.
And I bet you Antonio ain't deleting none of his messages. So get out of here.
Okay, let's try it this way.
That's what I said.
That's what she said. Now that let's try it this way. Lord have mercy. Bless her heart and soul.
What did I walk into?
I just got off the phone with Pastor's wife. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay, let's try it this way. I brought that up.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait. Because I heard what you said when you said I just hung up. I just got off the phone with, and then you said who you was talking to. First
Oh,
of all,
I didn't hear that, but this is why I brought it up.
I did.
This is why I brought it up, because I gave her a response and she trinaced the trinace. You understand? Trinacing with trinacing, round the trinace. And she came through consistently, Susan. She came through consistently. And that is either how she thinks or either the way she was supposed to. I'm going to leave you with two thoughts. Does Trinace think like Trinace because this is what it is? Or did a body of work and experience create who she is? All right, she's agreeing with the second one. You get it? She's agreeing with the second one. That there's a body of experience, which now leads me to the second thing why I'm telling y'all, I'm leaving you with two things. Careful of the Kool-Aid we drink. It is, here's the deal. And Grace, where you at? Where you at, Grace? I need 90 seconds. Because here's the deal. You mad at me right now. I'm being facetious here or hyperbolic here. Taking my words too far is what that means. And somebody taught you that. Your experiences on this planet are not yours. Your experiences on this planet are from your elders and your culture's thoughts and experiences of theirs. And they threw you into that. And then they told you, look, Tracy, this is your experience. So now when somebody says something to you, you respond a certain way. You get triggered not because it's a problem. You get triggered because somebody told you it's supposed to be a problem. Careful of the Kool-Aid you drink. I guarantee you. Now, here's the deal. This class was already here. This class is already going here. There's three things that's going to be true about Antonio, Grace. Number one, I'm going to keep on confusing y'all on these Thursdays. That's my job. Okay. My job. We didn't come here for answers, Damali. We came here to think. This is the one place you get to think for. If I came here to give you answers and I ain't no better than the world, Dion, this is what you're going to think. No, I didn't come here to do Susan like that. I came here to say, well, Susan, what about this? And then Susan gets to go, well, you know what? I believe this. And you got doggone right. That's what you believe. Have it, hold it, love it. At least now you know why you believe in it, Susan. Because at first you was just believing. Debating with me made you have hard, concrete evidence of why you believe now. Now you can defend yourself when the TV program try to program you. This is I'm just attempting to make you stronger individuals, and you only get strong through this thing up here. Remember, goldfish are not making paintings and skyscrapers. We are very unique. It is us. Goldfish didn't create language. Cryptocurrency.
They don't even remember that I fed them twice today.
No, I think they got a 6 seconds memory or something like that. You had them messed up as soon as you fed them. As soon as you fed them. Listen, I got it in you. The Kool-Aid you are drinking, I hope you hear me. I hope your children hear me. I hope your triggers hear me. The Kool-Aid you drinking is not yours. You've just been drinking it so long that you now identify with it. And I know people, some of y'all on this call, some of y'all hearing me right now, you've been struggling so long that you now identify with the struggle to the point to where your subconscious and your God will not move your struggle, because if you get blessed, you're going to have a midlife crisis. You're going to have an identity crisis. Why? Because your full identity is in the struggle. I'll say it again. You have struggled for so long. Your identity, Antonio, has been struggled. So God can't bless you, because if you get blessed, you're literally going to lose your mind.
What?
And in order to protect you, God must continue to give you the comfort of the identity of struggle and hurt and depression. And he doing me like this. He cheated and she embarrassing me and this, because that's what you identify with. But you wasn't born that way. Your mama taught it to you. Your culture taught it to you. Your father taught it to you. Your siblings and your cousins taught it to you. But you were never born with that. If you trace your life back young enough, you were happy. You were free. You didn't have no problems. Somebody gave you $1. You thought you was a billionaire.
That's true.
We are drinking Kool-Aid of other people, and their Kool-Aid and their thoughts and their standards have ruined our lives. And the only way to get free from that, the only way, the fastest way to be unhappy with your life is to live the expectations of others. Antonio T. Smith Jr., you can plant better. You can dominate. Love you, everybody.
Love you more.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Laser. Jesus. Who would have ever known?